Hey everyone, Poindexter here, and today we will fly our fourth mission in Amerika Bomber, Evil Queen of the Skies. Our last mission saw us dropping propaganda leaflets over New York. Flak was our main opponent, and we suffered several hits over the target, one of which knocked out our air search radar. But we downed 2 American aircraft, our crew once again escaped unhurt, and the mission was a success. Regarding the hit to our air search radar last mission, there is one small mistake that was made when resolving combat. With the radar knocked out, all bandits are able to shoot first at long range. That was shown correctly, except that the veteran bandit attacking from the rear quarter was allowed a free move before we fired back. We should have taken our shot before the bandit moved to medium range. Regardless, the bandit was destroyed, which he most likely would have been when attacking from that position anyway, so everything worked out just fine. Our target for today will be Ford Willow Run in Michigan. The target is located in Zone 6, a long flight. Atlantic Pride is loaded with bombs, ammunition, and chaff. Our crew board the ship, and we take off on our fourth mission. We move into Zone 1, and our escort join with the formation. We proceed to Zone 2 and roll for bandits. And we roll a 7, 2 P-80s, which counts as no contact since these are land-based aircraft. We move to Zone 3 and roll for an encounter. And it's an 8, no contact. We proceed to Zone 4. And we go it alone from this point as our escort return home. We roll for an encounter, and it's another 7, 2 P-80s, which we ignore. We move into Zone 5, and the American ground radar have us spotted as we approach the coast. And the skies remain empty on a roll of 6, no contact. We move into Zone 6 and our target zone. We roll for an encounter, and a roll of 10 is 2 F-8F Bearcats. However, in Zone 6, only land-based Air Force fighters are allowed to intercept us. The Bearcats are naval-based, so the result is no contact. Our crew, amazed that they were able to fly over American soil without a single fighter intercepting them, begin their bomb run. But first, we must roll for flak over the target. A roll of 2 is light flak, and we roll a 7 for the number of flak hits. However, we add a -2 for the light flak, a -2 for the active AA jammer, and we'll drop 2 chaff canisters, the maximum allowed, which adds another -4. The -8 modifier is more than enough to negate the flak roll of 7. And no hits are scored. Atlantic Pride arrives on target and drops her payload. The roll of 8 is modified to a 7, and 30% of the bombs land in the target area. Mission accomplished. We turn for home and must endure another round of flak. Flak is a little heavier on the outbound leg on a roll of 3, which is medium flak. And we roll a 9 for the number of potential flak hits. We modify this by adding a -1 for medium flak, -2 for the active AA jammer, and -4 for dropping our last 2 chaff canisters, which leaves a final total of 2 flak hits. The first flak hit is a 33, an airframe hit. The second is 23, the port wing. The roll of 5 on the subchart means one of the fuel tanks has been hit. We must roll to see how serious the hit to the fuel tank is. And a 9 means the fuel tank is leaking. We roll another 2d6 to see how much further our bomber can travel. Thankfully, we roll a 7, which means our bomber can travel a total of 7 zones before running out of fuel. Hopefully, we won't get hit in the fuel tanks again on the way home. We move into Zone 5 and roll for an encounter. And it's a 9. 2 P-80s will be attacking. The first bandit approaches from dead astern in a low position, and we come up against another ace pilot. The second bandit enters from the port side, high, in approach 3. Fortunately, this pilot is trained. The approach 3 bandit will be targeted by no less than 4 gun positions: the nose, and the front, mid, and aft turrets. The tailing bandit will be targeted by our remaining guns in the ventral and tail positions. Our 4 gunners target the high-flying P-80 and fire, and all of our gunners miss. The ace bandit on our 6 is targeted next. With this P-80 flown by an ace pilot, we add a -1 modifier to our gunnery die rolls, so we'll need to roll a 5 or 6 to hit. Our rear gunners line up on the climbing bandit and fire. And Kranz in the ventral turret manages to strike the bandit and destroys it on a roll of 5. Ventral gunner Kranz chalks up his first kill. The approach 3 bandit moves to long range and fires, and misses on a 1. Our 4 gunners target the bandit once again and fire. Eichel in the front turret manages to hit the bandit, along with Sauer in the aft turret. Eichel damages the P-80, so Sauer gets the final blow that destroys the bandit. And Sauer chalks up his 4th career kill. Breathing a sigh of relief, Atlantic Pride moves into Zone 4. And a roll of 7 is 2 P-80s, which count as no contact. We move into Zone 3 and welcome our fighter escort. And the skies remain clear on an 8, which is no contact. Atlantic Pride moves to Zone 2 and our final encounter. And it's a 9, 2 P-80s, which we ignore. Atlantic Pride makes it to Zone 1, and we roll for the weather. And it's a 4, good weather. We add a -1 modifier to the landing die roll for our landing receiver, and land safely on a roll of 5. Our leaking fuel tank is patched, and since our bomber took fewer than 6 hits, she is fully repaired and ready for the next sortie. Our crew has now flown 4 missions. As a result, they gain 1 experience point, which gives us a total of 2. We could spend our 2 experience points to purchase skills, if desired. We could purchase weapons maintenance, in which we ignore the first hit to one of our gun positions in a sortie. Useful in case our ventral turret gets knocked out again, as has happened twice already. Another useful skill is Electronics Wizard, in which we can repair 1 knocked out system per sortie. This skill could have been useful in our last mission, when our air search radar was knocked out. Of course, we have enough experience to purchase Parachute or Landing, which add positive modifiers to bailing out and landing respectively. There is also Shared Expertise, which negates the serious landing penalty applied if our pilot is seriously wounded or killed. There's also Leadership, which only helps when rolling for a promotion. But we're going to forego purchasing these skills and wait until we're able to purchase Air Combat Maneuvering, which requires 3 experience points. This skill is very useful, as our bomber will ignore the first random hit in each zone, which adds greatly to survivability. We have also reached the end of the month, and now we can discuss the research track. Performing research is done at the end of every month, regardless if you have flown or not. This track allows the player to select certain areas to advance technological development. For example, we could select our research focus on advancing the availability of more advanced bombers, such as the TA-400 and Arado E-555 jet bomber. We could decide to improve the effectiveness of our electronic equipment, such as the AA jammer, the bomb sight, the navigation aid, or the blind landing receiver. We could research more advanced fighter escort in the form of the Gotha 229 flying wing. Or we could invest research into areas that enhance our survivability, such as fire suppression technology, improved survival rafts, or improved fuel tanks. With survivability in mind, thanks to our recent mission in which our fuel tank was struck and left leaking, we'll apply our research this month to improved fuel tanks. The -1 modifier to future fuel tank hits will improve the chance that our bomber won't be set alight by a fuel tank fire. At the end of every month, the player is allowed one research point, to which he can apply to any advancement of his choosing. Since we've decided to go with improved fuel tanks, we'll apply the point here. In order to see if the advancement has been made, we now roll a 1d6. If the number is equal to or less than the number in the box, then the advancement has been achieved. In the case of our fuel tank improvement, we'll need to roll a 1 to get the advancement. And we roll a 6, so the advancement has not been achieved. However, at the end of the next month, we'll receive another research point, which we can add to this particular improvement, or we could apply it to a different technology. With that, our fourth mission is complete. Though we received very minor damage, it was enough to puncture one of our fuel tanks, which could have brought us down in the ocean if we were unlucky, or worse, set our entire ship on fire. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. We were not intercepted our entire trip across the Atlantic. Only after we had bombed the target did the Americans show up, and when they finally did, we destroyed 2 of their aircraft. I'm sure some American heads are rolling after such a poor performance. But the Americans are resourceful and resilient, and not to be underestimated. They could easily punch back at any time. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, I bought this last week. I mean, you got to have a sequel, right?